It is your friendly YouTube host. It's Mosley. It is 1 o'clock. It's time. It's time to roll. Boy, Scotty hopefully has fired out our premium Twitter audience. It'll be vast today. We do have Scotty's working remotely today, like I do pretty much every day. Scotty, do we have some breaking news? Can you do the breaking news sounder remotely? Oh, interesting. I'm getting calls from as we speak. Oh, there it is. All right, Scotty, you might have heard the tone in my voice yesterday as I had Ashley on. And I kind of was ramping up and kind of thought we might know something about this Baylor defensive coordinator thing. And then, again, I would always rather be right rather than first and wrong and all that kind of stuff. But this was one that I was tipped off on by a wonderful person and a wonderful source. And then was able to confirm everything yesterday. And then, as you do in this business from time to time, you try for various reasons, you might agree to hold off on something. And all the while knowing that the longer I held off, the more it was like but again, you live and learn, and I've done a million of these things, and it was frustrating this morning because I was sort of pressing someone to, I need to do this, and then as I predicted, Pete Thamel came out with this news. Now, the good news, Scotty, is that having known who it was, that Joe Klanderman was going to be the new defensive coordinator at Baylor, and having known that for the better part of 16 hours, I have a whole legal pad here of notes and things I had prepared on Joe Klanderman, the former Kansas State defensive coordinator who's taken over at Baylor. And I'm also mindful of the fact that, for the most part, folks just want the news. And then they want to talk about it. And then they want to hear your thoughts on it and all that kind of stuff. So, in the whole scheme of life, I'll be okay. But I was very fortunate to have known about Joe Klanderman for a pretty good, quite a few hours before it happened. And it's, again, you live and learn. And, sometimes you give folks some courtesy. And as I'm reminded, and that's okay sometimes to do that, and you just hope that that'll put you in good stead moving down the road, and I think it will. But what I did, Scotty, is and hello to everybody. Thank you for coming in as I put my glasses on. Okay, the intellectual Mosley look. All right, and then yesterday, one of my great friends was wondering where my Camp OTX cap on. I think I put my Fox Hot Springs cap on, which some people love, by the way. But Scotty and others have really enjoyed this cap. And somebody was like, why didn't you have your OTX cap on? It's back. It's back today, and always good. And I was representing it today at a breakfast I had in the community. And so the breakfast was only interrupted with me trying to check and see, trying to break this news of Joe Klanderman, Baylor's new defensive coordinator. So, Scotty, what I had done is I'd gone back and I'd looked at all the good, the bad. Scotty, I'm sure you've done the same. I saw Darth Baylor or whatever had a good breakdown of all the, points per, game. Every category. There's some good, there's some bad. Of course, our buddy Scotty, because Drake Toll right now can only be negative about Baylor. And I noticed our old friend Drake immediately posted the score of K-State and Utah, that they got beat 41-48. And that's who Baylor hired. So, yes, This man's been the defensive coordinator there since 2020. He arrived in Kansas State in 2019, but let's hold him to one game in his entire 7-year career there. Let's make sure we do that. So let's see, 6 seasons as DC. I thought Scotty, and I tell you what we'll do at about 1:30. I hope I told him 1:30. The Matt Walters, Scotty, is going to join us, and Matt is the sideline reporter for Kansas State football. And then we'll have Klanderman. We'll have Joe Klanderman on soon on the show. I really would hope very, very soon. I'll be checking my text messages for that. Now, I would tell you, Scotty, that like my research on him, and you've seen this already, but I'll share it with my audience. Like 2022, they won the Big 12 championship. Top 15 scoring defense. That year, number 9, Oklahoma State, they played them, beat them 48-0 in a game. He's been a safeties coach. They've had some great safeties there. He came from North Dakota State with Chris Kleiman. He was, Colin Klein got several Kansas State coaches together and let them go today. I will remind you that on that list, one of them was not Joe, because Joe was already headed toward Baylor. I don't know if Klein would have tried to retain him or not, but Baylor moved in. They thought they had an opportunity, and they made it happen. And again, this guy was very tied to Kleiman there and came with him. North Dakota State had won 4 national championships, I think, in 5 seasons. Before that, he had played at Minnesota State. He had been a defensive coordinator at Minnesota State. Then he went to North Dakota State, and then he ended up at Kansas State with Kleiman. I would say, if you want the good stuff, now, again, there's going to be some negatives along the way. They were giving up a lot of points this year. I would not try to get on here and spin this as, oh, my gosh, Kansas State, unbelievable defense this year. No. But I'm trying to look at the entire body of work. In 2021, he went to a 3-3-5 alignment. By 2022, they were really good on defense. 2022, 23, and 24, during that time, I think they had a combined 63 takeaways and were one of the tops in the country during that time. And even this season, when they didn't, let's not act like K-State was great this year, but they had the 4th most takeaways in the country on defense. They were 8th in turnover turnover margin. We talked about how, and thank you, Scotty B. Yes, you are correct, sir. As Scotty B joins us right there, you can all our Twitter people. We got a lot of Baylor people wanting to join us on Twitter, and so Scotty, I was a little bummed, mad at myself and others. Mainly myself, because I knew better than to sit on this thing. But I kind of was taken care of. Yeah, anyway, mainly mad at myself. But, hey, we were able to dig in. And, Scotty, if you'll notice out there on Twitter, I have pointed some folks to who TCU's new offensive coordinator may be. Now, that is a very interesting one to watch. And we've been talking about that because Spavital was linked to that, because Spavital obviously has done a nice job at Baylor. Sawyer Robertson has been incredible. They put up big numbers, and so it made sense that they might look at him. The TCU people, I was seeing like other names. The guy from UNT was one of them. Garrett Riley, who could have come back from Clemson. Gordon Samus is the name who was he's the UConn interim head coach, and the thought was that he was going to go to Colorado State with Jim Mora. And now, I don't know, there are rumblings that the Horned Frogs might be trying to zero in on him. So anyway, it was kind of fun, man. Scotty, you know this about me. I do like to get into fight every once in a while. And I mean, I used to literally, this was all I did was try to get, you try to break news constantly. You were writing game stories, you were writing features, but you were never wanting to get beat by the other newspaper. And that back then it was the Star Telegram. The people older than me, it was the Morning News versus the Dallas Times Herald. When I got there, Herald was already dead. And so the competition was like the Fort Worth Star Telegram. And we for the most part, owned all those beats, but we had good competition over there in Fort Worth. And I remember throwing haymakers back and forth when I was at the Dallas Morning News, and I was covering the Baylor scandal of 2003 basketball. And Danny Robbins and some of those people at Fort Worth Star Telegram were really getting some good stuff. And then we were firing back at them, and it was back and forth, and it was a pretty unbelievable time to be in the newspaper business. Now you report stuff, and I mean, the next minute, nobody cares who reported it. I mean, we'd like to think they do, but I don't know that they do. Maybe Scotty would care. Maybe Scotty would care that Mosley had a story. But for the most part, you guys are just interested in kind of our analysis of it and kind of what we see happening with all this. Now, Scotty, I have done my Klanderman research, and Scotty's a little bit hazy today. Not his mind, but where he's working from, maybe. And so I may not go to him as much as I usually would, although I will get Scotty's take on this at some point. I got to test out Scotty's the Wi-Fi where he is and make sure Scotty sounds. I don't want him to come on and look too shadowy or anything. I really don't care how he looks. I just care how he sounds. And to me, I was talking to Scotty earlier, and he sounded fine to me. All right, just again, to drill down on this a little more, Baylor has a new defensive coordinator, or they were finalizing it, but I believe now they've actually put out a press release. So anyway, great. Way to go, guys. This guy also coaches safeties. That's what he's done for years at Kansas State. There's a lot of good positive things to say about him. There are years where they weren't that great on defense. There were years where he had some really good players. I'm kind of interested to see what he does with these assistants. He's got one guy named, what is Buddy's? Oh, Buddy Wyatt, who interests me. Defensive ends coach for Kansas State last few years. He was also at Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, Texas A&M. He worked with Von Miller and Michael Bennett at Texas A&M. If you go back and you think about that, it's like, whoa, all right. Those are big-time pass rushers of the past at Texas A&M, and that would have been during the, oh, goodness. Was that, you go all the way back to the years of Johnny? I'm trying to think how old Von and Michael Bennett are, but somewhere around then. And I think you would have to go back to some of that time. He was at A&M 2 different times and worked with some of those great pass rushers there. And then even some other linemen that I remember. Ty Warren was a great player at Texas A&M, and he worked with him. But this guy, Buddy Wyatt, is a name to kind of keep in mind. He was the defensive ends coach for Kansas State, and he's been all around the Big 12, and in fact coached at Alabama at one point. I'm trying to think who he would have been with at Alabama, because it goes back a ways. I think I'm trying to think if he predated Saban or not. I think he was there at some point when Saban was there. But that's an interesting name to kind of keep in mind, because if you think about it, Baylor lost its D-line coach, and so it'll have an opening. Now, the defensive tackles coach at Kansas State was a guy named Mike Osasopo and Tui Osasopo. Okay, easy for me to say. But he's been a good coach and been around and had some really good players, but we'll just see who he brings with him. And some of this will be about who Klein wants to retain on that staff. It does seem like Klein's moving on from a lot of the folks that were on that K-State staff. And again, that's always the really tough thing when a guy like Kleiman, it's like, okay, congratulations, Chris. And yeah, great career. And we all feel great for you. But how about your assistants are sitting there like, and maybe he would have made some changes anyway, even if Kleiman had stayed. But boy, you put everybody in peril. But again, it's part of the business. Kleiman, they get the staff, they get the class together, they get the signing class together, and then Kleiman goes, and then Kansas State's favorite son, Colin Klein, comes right back into town. Baylor comes in and hires Joe Klanderman. Now, my thought on this is that, I think it's pretty good hire considering, what were you going to get? You weren't going to like go pluck somebody just incredible for like, oh man, we'll go to Baylor where they have, let's not hide the fact that it's a complete lame duck situation. They're not, it's not like, well, gosh, yeah, they hope they turn it around this year. But Scotty, the more I talk to people associated with just kind of even people from the outside watching the Baylor situation each day, Scotty, we say, well, this guy's gone. This guy's gone. Some of those people, Baylor's probably fine to move on. But this is going to be a season where Dave Aranda tries to throw some haymakers. And, all these guys are going to come in and do the best they can to try to flip this in a hurry. When I say flip it, they went from 8-4. They're 5-7 this year. They obviously underperformed. Now, they would say, hey, we were underfunded, and that may be true. But the bottom line is the bottom line. They were 5-7. So, Dave Aranda's probably going to have to go 8-4 or 9-3. And how do you think he's going to do that? Well, they've got some money in NIL, and they're going to have some money in the portal because they lost so many players, so many top frontline players from their class. Now, Scotty, the elephant in the room from yesterday that happened after we were on the air yesterday, the Michigan thing opened up. I know a lot of Baylor people looked at that and go, wait, Jamarian Vincent just went there. He just flipped from Baylor to Michigan, and Michigan's lost his head coach. Well, we shall see. We'll see. Michigan is going to use this Biff Poggi as their interim. He's an interesting. Biff's been around a long time. I think he loved Harbaugh. He's been, I think, a head coach, if I recall correctly, maybe Charlotte or somewhere like that. He's a huge guy. He's kind of a overweight, fun-loving, interesting guy. Anybody named Biff has got to be kind of fun. Obviously, he'll take over. But, man, that story is nuts, what happened at Michigan. Sharon Moore is out, had an affair with staffer, had an inappropriate relationship, I guess is the way we would term that. And the more that's coming out of there, Scotty, I was just before the show today, I was watching John Bacon, a very noted author. He's written about Michigan stuff. I think he may be a Michigan grad, maybe. He may live up that direction. But I've also seen him on a lot of SEC documentaries. He's written a lot of books. He's a pretty famous author. And he was talking about this story. And Sharon Moore not only got fired for cause, but Sharon Moore's in jail. And I think he's still in jail. Scotty, tell me if you see today that he's been bailed out. But he was arrested last night by one set of police. And then they transferred him over to another township, and he's been in jail. And the reason you go, well, how's he not out of jail yet? Well, I think they may be serious charges because it looked like he either broke into somebody's house. The stories that are coming out, this John Bacon, who I see as a very reliable person, he went on a local TV station there in the Michigan area and basically said that the coach went in, broke into somebody's house, and at first it got reported as like an assistant coach's house, but I also saw John Bacon saying it could have had something to do with whoever he was having the affair with, but he threatened to harm himself. He threatened to harm the other person. He had a knife as reports are coming in. This is a really bad situation unfolding in Michigan. Now, again, there's a Baylor component to this because Baylor just lost a recruit to Michigan, and it happened to be one of their top recruits. Now, Joe Klanderman, let's stay on it. Defensive coordinator, Baylor. We're out there on Twitter, premium Twitter. Thank you, CNB. Thanks, Scotty, for getting us out there. Scotty always puts us out there on Twitter. We got a lot of people. I want to remind the people who look at all our stuff on Twitter, hey, jump on the YouTube. We want you to sign up for the YouTube as well. Here in about 5 minutes, we'll need to take a quick break here in a minute. And a guy that I've met and I really like the work he does. He's a funny guy. He's a good dude. He does Kansas State baseball. He sidelines for football. He's a big time K-State guy. He knows all this stuff. And so he knows Klanderman. He'll know all these assistant coaches. He'll know what they're thinking about Colin Klein there if we want to talk to him a little bit about that. Matt Walters will be joining us at 1:30 today. Okay. And I was trying to debate whether I wanted him at 1:30 or 2, but let's do 1:30. We'll get him on. We'll react. And then I want to share more on all this stuff on Joe Klanderman. I'll tell you that, Scotty, that one thing you'll like is that in working with the safeties and working with that defense, he ranked the stats that he cares about the most as a defensive coordinator and as a longtime defensive mind, and turnover creation is at the top. Now, that's not breaking news. Like I think most people would say, the ball, take the ball away. Joey McGuire used to say, take three. And by the way, the Red Raiders are like top in the country in takeaways. If not one, they're in the top 3 or 4. This guy was Kansas State in a year where they did not play particularly well. And a couple of times they gave up huge amount of points, especially to that game against Utah at the end of the year. They gave up a lot of points in that game. But from a takeaway standpoint, number 4 in the country. Turnover margin, 8th in the country. Come on now. Come on. That's good. Okay. I mean, to get a sitting defensive coordinator, and I looked at some of what the K-State people were saying. Some of them are, you know how these things work. Good riddance. See you, Joe. See you, Joe K. And then some of them are like, man, I wish we could retain Joe after the season. I would say, I don't know, maybe 50-50. I don't know. I was looking kind of interesting back and forth. We'll hear from Scotty. Scotty, let's take a quick break though, and then Matt Walters, the one of the big time broadcasters for K-State, will join us next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Never deposit someone else's money into your bank account. Scammers will send you money or overpay you and then ask you to refund a portion of the money back to them. This is a scam.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Baylor Nation rolls along with Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Start with award-winning service and factory-trained techs. Then shop our new and used lineup from cars, trucks to SUVs, all makes and models. Running a business? We're your Central Texas headquarters for ProMaster vans, cabin chassis, and work trucks. For power and comfort, test drive the Ram 1500, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year winner again. Allen Samuels in Waco, proud partner of Baylor Athletics.
Come by, let's be friends.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
All right. It is the Mosley Show rolling on, and pleased to be joined by Matt Walters now. And there he is. I had his profile there for a second. Look at that great goatee. Matt, good to have you. And man, big newsy day there. And you found out who all the Colin Klein. I mean, I both these fan bases are going through different things. Baylor, Matt, as you know, probably not too excited about retaining their head coach. Y'all get maybe the shocking news that you're going to get a new coach, and now Colin Klein, favorite son, returns home. But a lot of interesting things between these two fan bases right now.
Correct. As it pertains to K-State, now the process is underway of who Colin Klein brings with him from A&M, who he hires, who he fills out his staff with, and he said last week he's not in a rush. It's going to take a little time, but we're starting to see some dominoes fall.
Did he seem different to you guys? I mean, it hadn't been too long since you've seen him, but he's gone off, but he's been a play caller, and he's had a lot of success at Texas A&M. Did you encounter someone that reminded you of the exact same guy that you've gotten to know and you watched and all the people at K-State loved, or was there even a different layer to him in kind of hearing that press conference and being around him here in recent days?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything different about Colin. Just the experience of being, at Texas A&M and having those 2 years as the OC under his belt. I'm sure that's helped him grow as a coach, helped him grow as a person. But he's thrilled to be back at K-State. He calls it home, and for good reason. K-State's fan base is very happy to have him back.
Can you take us on like a tour of your office there or wherever you are? I mean, I kind of like this roving. I mean, I know you're a sideline reporter in football. I mean, I guess you're kind of used to moving while reporting. So I appreciate this.
Yeah, no tour necessary.
Matt Walters with us, knows K-State, and man, I got to meet him a few years ago. Funny guy, knows baseball, does K-State baseball. They've been really good at baseball too. Joe Klanderman comes to Baylor. It's like anything. I've seen some of your fans are like, oh, good, please, can we, after a rough season where it doesn't go that great, you're going to have that attitude. Let's move on. But as I was kind of digging in, looking at Joe's past, certainly there have been some good moments, and there's good and bad, like a lot of coaches. The best is that they seem to be really good at getting takeaways, something Baylor desperately needs. They're horrible at turnover margin. K-State was really good in that area. But what is what is everybody's impression? You've worked with Joe, I'm sure, and gotten to know him, and probably are friends with him. What's the biggest thing we should know about Joe Klanderman?
Well, you're getting a solid person and a solid family, without a doubt. And there's some innovation to what he does defensively. K-State was a team that utilized a lot of pressure from the back seven, very creative at times. But he's a heck of a guy, and in my estimation, it's a very good get for Baylor.
All right, and he's had some really good players. You talked about, he's been innovative. About 2021, you saw him go to that 3-3-5. How did that go? I'm sure by 2022, obviously, that thing was ramped up, and it seemed like they had a great year on defense that year. How did that, how have players responded to him? And from that, like you mentioned, he was pretty innovative. How did that work at K-State? Like, how long did that take to kind of get going? I'm just kind of trying to look inside of like what that process was like when with him at the helm there.
Right. I think it all depends on personnel, to be honest, and that's part of why K-State made that shift. And for the most part, ran it exclusively for a couple of years. They did not do a lot of 3-3-5, this football season because it didn't fit the personnel. And I think what they found is teams can gouge you with the run, and that I think that's one reason K-State shifted away. They used it occasionally during the year, but not very much. Again, I think it depends on what you have up front and how good the defensive front three are and how good your linebackers are. And when K-State, kind of went back away from it, that's when, he started using a lot of pressure from, whether it was corners or safeties or, bringing the whole house, so to speak. And K-State did a lot more of that this year. So, again, coaches don't just have one set, and I know you know this, one set defense in their pocket that they use. And that's, I think that's what was interesting about Joe over his time here at K-State, because the Cats use multiple defenses. They've produced guys that are playing on Sundays. Marquise Siegel is the guy that's starting for the 49ers in the secondary. Jacob Parrish at corner for the Buccaneers, starting as a rookie and has made a big impact in Tampa. But he's got a lot of weapons, so to speak, and what he can utilize. And I know Baylor needs some help defensively, but he's also a good recruiter. So again, I think Baylor got a good person to fill that DC role, and we'll see how he fares in Waco.
Baylor's not producing NFL players lately, as you may have noticed. I'll
tell you, there's one guy they've got that if I'm an NFL GM, I'm drafting, and that's Michael Trigg. I know he's not on the defensive side, but I'd take that cat in a heartbeat.
Yeah, finally, the Bears have never really, Iowa State and K-State and Oklahoma State produced a lot of great tight ends over the years. Iowa certainly has, but Trigg, he had to bounce around to some other colleges, as everybody does these days, but they've done an incredible job with him, and he's a talent that Baylor's never seen, what he's able to do. I'm trying to remember that K-State game to see if he pulled off some stuff in that game.
Yeah, he made one of the best catches I saw all year.
The one-handed one over on the sideline. Yeah,
yep.
That's probably over. Yeah, you weren't too far away over there. What does Joe? He's been a safeties coach as well as defensive coordinator. His safeties. You talked about some of the DBs that have had some success under him. What is he looking for? Does he like the big, rangy, big dude in the box kind of guy, or does he take different kind of? Is there any kind of trait that you would say, hey, Joe Klanderman is looking for this guy?
Yeah, I don't know that there's an exact profile. Over the course of time, K-State hasn't been what I would call big at cornerback. Julius Brents, who plays for the Colts, is probably about the biggest corner that K-State has had, at least in the last decade or so. And in terms of safeties, K-State's, like right now, they've got a young man by the name of VJ Payne, who is a little longer and a little rangier, so to speak. But he wants guys that can tackle. Obviously, you've got to have speed back there. And I think for what K-State has had recently on the defensive side, he's found exactly what he's wanted.
What did he, you said he, obviously he didn't just stick with the 3-3-5. What did they go to this year that when things were working the best? I'm sure they were trying different things, and obviously some games it worked better than others. But what did he primarily go with in this past season, or even maybe the season before?
Yeah, it was more of a 4-2-5, maybe a little bit of a 4-3 at times. But again, K-State had some issues stopping the run. That's why they went back to a four-man front, and it paid off. I'd say for the most part this year. Granted, I know K-State was 6-6, but 5 of the losses were by one score, and that's part of why K-State got bounced on its ears, so to speak, this year. They've been winning the close ones. That didn't happen this year. But again, he was a very good recruiter. I think he's a player's kind of coach. So he's the kind of coach I think would fit in almost anywhere he goes.
All right, and Kleiman's relationship with him, was he one of how many of those North Dakota State guys came with him? Was Klanderman? Obviously, there were quite a few and everything. Were y'all shocked with the Kleiman thing, or did y'all kind of see it going that way a little bit? Because the rest of us were kind of like, dang, I didn't know that, that morning's announcement. Those of you like you who are on the inside and around it all the time, was that not a real huge surprise that he made that decision?
I think what the surprise was just the timing of it and how rapidly everything went down. Around the country, Coach Kleiman got a lot of, I guess, media time with what happened and what he said, and he broke down after the loss at Utah, and that got a lot of run from coaches and media outlets everywhere. Coach is a guy that, and again, people know this, but he has struggled with what the NIL world is and what's taken place. It's not a level playing field. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it with you, Matt. College football is a disaster right now, and there are people that aren't doing things right. There are people that are doing a whole lot of things wrong, and until everybody's playing by the same rules, as K-State's AD Gene Taylor said, it's going to chase a lot of guys out of the business. I mean, they're not really coaching football. They're having to prioritize NIL money, who gets what. It's become a me game. What do I get? What's in it for me? And I'll just be honest. I think Coach just kind of got worn out, and I've seen that. I think after K-State played in Dublin this year, that trip and losing to Iowa State, then barely beating North Dakota, losing to Army, things kind of started to wear on him, and it's not bad, but to me, he kind of looked worn down as the season went along, and he's a guy that again is a great players coach, but it's just the wild west that college football is right now wore him out, and he's done it for a long time, and he's been awfully successful. So, do I think he'll get back in the coaching game? Won't surprise me a bit. I think college football is better with a guy like Chris Kleiman in it, but now he's going to step away for a while and enjoy his family and take a little time away from the game.
Do you have any read on what Avery Johnson, what you think he might be thinking or might do? I would think he's talented enough that Colin would want to try to keep him, but I also know that there might be a market for somebody that talented and that great of a runner. Obviously, they didn't utilize him maybe as much, although it seemed like later in the season they got back to that. What do you think will happen with Avery Johnson?
You just outlined it right there. I mean, I think it's 50-50 today. I think he's a guy that stays in the fold. He's got a great relationship with Colin Klein, but again, who knows what offers get thrown his way or have been thrown his way. But I think because of the relationship, K-State just landed the number one JUCO receiver in the country from Hutch JUCO, who's playing for the national title. Not that far from you guys, but in Canyon next Wednesday, a kid by the name of Derek Sally. I think there would be some positive vibes as to what happens on the recruiting trail in case they just landed a pretty good class. So, again, there's a caveat to it, but today I would say Avery Johnson stays.
All right. And in terms of who Joe might bring with him, Buddy Wyatt is a name I was just looking at because he's defensive ends coach. He's been everywhere, been all around the Big 12. And it seems like obviously with his D tackle, but Buddy in particular, I've been told there's a pretty close relationship there. Would that make sense for him to bring somebody like Buddy, or the other guy is Tuia Sosopo, the defensive tackles coach. What do you think on that front?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's another guy or two that come along with him. Van Malone would be a possibility as well. He's the guy that really coached the defensive backs the last few years. He had his hands in that as well. So I could see somebody joining up with JK and winding up in Waco.
All right, and last thing I had for you, Matt, the Coach Tang, they've obviously had some rough moments early in the season. He's someone Baylor people that watch our show still love and like to see him do well, unless they're playing the Bears. Is that just kind of a work in progress? Do you see the team improving somewhat, or is this a roster from what you've seen that's because right now this Big 12 is looking tougher than ever, and it's a meat grinder. And if again you could be pretty good and only finish 8th or 9th, what's going on with that team?
Well, with a dozen new guys on the roster, there's been a learning curve, and that's not gonna change. And like you said, the Big 12 as a whole is just an absolute beast. K-State's got a terrific point guard in PJ Haggerty, and when he's on, he's really hard to stop. But again, I think there's still, just like any roster would be, you're still figuring out how to play with one another. You're learning how to coach everybody. You're learning everybody yourself as a head coach or an assistant, and vice versa for that matter. K-State has some opportunities in front of it to have success, but again, trying to learn the system. And one thing that K-State has been able to do this year is score a lot. Problem is they haven't been able to stop anybody. And when you're giving up 70 plus points a game, that's not a great recipe. So I would tell you on the defensive side, that's where K-State's got to get a lot better. And somebody other than Haggerty or Abdi Bashir, they're going to have to pick up some of the scoring load as well.
Well, by the way, what is your favorite new venue in the Big 12 as you go to all these football stadiums and work these games? Is there any of those new ones that have stood out to you more than any other? People like Provo, it seems like, and I don't know if you've worked that one in yet. Is there anything that stands out?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Provo. K-State didn't go there this year. We played there in 24 and got whipped. And I will tell you that that's one of the most unique environments, because when the fans are yelling at you, they're not yelling obscenities and calling you names and so forth. They had to be the biggest, most pleasant crowd I've ever seen. The night we played there was their Hall of Fame night. And Brian Billick, the longtime coach of the Baltimore Ravens, was one of the inductees, and I was on the field, and they were on our side of the field, all the HOF inductees, and I was maybe 10 feet away from him, and his brother walked up to me and said something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, "Hey, hope you've enjoyed Provo. Welcome to Provo. It's great to have you here." And that's just not what you usually get when you're on the road. So Provo was unique. We played in Salt Lake against Utah, obviously a few weeks ago. That was a very unique setting, and they do something really cool between the third and fourth quarter, where they recognize, and it doesn't have to be a player or a coach or anything. It could just be a community member, but the stadium goes eerily quiet. I mean, you could literally hear a pin drop, and then they play a message or a video up on the video board, and then all the fans have their flashlights on their phones on. I think it's called The Loudest Moment, if I remember right. And then when that message on the video board is done, they just explode in noise. And it was really cool. That night, they were honoring 2 former players who'd been shot and killed. I think it was in 2022 or 23. And there were some tears flowing. So that was a cool environment. I'll be honest, I love coming to Waco. I call it the spaceship, McLean Stadium. I enjoy that place. But there's, haven't been to UCF yet. been in Tempe, but it was for a bowl game. Arizona's facility it's okay. We played there on a Friday night, and the crowd wasn't very big. So, again, Arizona's crowd's it's just a little bit different. It's not like there's 75,000 in Provo that are screaming and going crazy, but I love this conference and what it has.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it. Barfield sends his best, and
you did not bring him up.
One of your old baseball buddies over the years. It's good to see Tom back on the game, seeing Derek, and so I'm sure y'all will cross paths this season.
Oh,
yeah. But
I appreciate the invite today. Happy holidays to you and everybody in Waco, and go enjoy a double R burger for me, or one of the great steaks out at 135 Prime, if you would, please.
Yeah, I think Tom keeps double R in business over there.
If I were there, I would as well.
He does love that place. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Great to have you on.
You bet. Anytime. Happy holidays.
All right. Same to you. Matt Walters joining us, the sideline guy for man, does a great job at Kansas State. I met him a few years ago when I was doing a pregame, and he's a funny guy and kind of a character, but also, full of information, and knows K-State, better than just about anyone. And so you can kind of ask about any sport or whatever, but wanted to get into some of his thoughts on Joe Klanderman as Baylor makes him the newest defensive coordinator. And I assume, we don't know this to be sure, but I would assume he'll be calling plays for Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda did make it clear in our last time with him that he would like to relinquish those duties probably. And so I would expect Joe Klanderman to take over those play calling. Tell you what we'll do. Let's take a break. And then, Scotty, just so you know, we have since heard, since we started the show today, we got a huge game coming up Sunday. Baylor and University of Texas are going to get together, and Texas is like, what are they, number 1 in the country, number 2 in the country? It's kind of unbelievable. Baylor and Texas, the two women's programs, are playing in the Metroplex. It's going to be very, very exciting. That's coming up on Sunday, and Nikki Collin is going to be able to hop on with us, and so that's an exciting development on the show. That'll happen, Scotty, at 2:15. We're trying to have her on at 2:15, but we'll be back, and we'll kind of continue reacting to Joe Klanderman, the Baylor's new defensive coordinator. All that coming up next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety,
So you can perform at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is a Mosley show, and we got a fun drop-in happening with Coach Colin. Nikki Collin will be on at 2:15 today. Scotty is with me, but he's working remotely. So I may try him at some point just to kind of get his thought on everything. Want to continue, though, to remind you the situation with Baylor as Baylor brings in Joe Klanderman, the defensive coordinator and new defense coordinator at Baylor. I've been looking at this from a lot of different angles. Klanderman came with Kleiman from North Dakota State in 2019. By 2020, he was the defensive coordinator. By 2021, he had installed a 3-3-5 defense. As we just talked about with Matt Walters, it was 4-2-5 last season, and they had changed it up a little bit because they had trouble perhaps against the run. We know about that. My goodness, he would be in good company if that had happened. The interesting news is that, and Scotty, by the way, text me if we need to take one more before we get Nikki on at 2:15, because Nikki and I can generally go for a pretty good while. So you just let me know if we need to take care of our folks one more time before Nikki shows up at 2:15. I will. Joe Klanderman is a safeties coach, in addition to being a defensive coordinator. Now, when I looked up and listened to some of the interviews he had done over the years, you know, I kind of wanted to see what he prioritized, what kind of players, what his alignment would be like. In one talk that he gave, and I wish I could remember who was interviewing him from K-State. The guy did a nice job. I really enjoyed it. And boy, I thought Matt Walters did a nice job. In fact, isn't that interesting? When we asked him about Avery Johnson, a really good quarterback at K-State. And I don't know what Scotty's thinking right now, because Scotty probably was not that high on Avery Johnson going into the season. Avery Johnson did struggle at times this year. He had his good moments. He had some rough moments. Certainly has been successful at times for K-State. But when we asked Matt Walters, who's the insider and the sideline man for K-State, he said, I think it's 50-50 on whether or not Avery Johnson stays. So that is very, very interesting. And oh my goodness, I just remembered, by the way, Scotty, I've got a meeting today, a major meeting, and I'm glad it just popped up on my screen. But this afternoon on the board of directors at the S3 in Baylor, they may be watching right now. I'll have to get with them, because I may be showing up for that one just a tad bit late. But very, very interesting stuff there. Now, Scotty, that's this Avery Johnson. Now we'll have Nikki Colin. We're going to have her at 2:15, and let me see here, Scotty. Okay, we'll do, before we get Nikki in about 10 minutes, we'll take another break, and so we can take care of everybody. Colin Klein is now at K-State. Today, the word started to come out who he was not retaining. Klanderman was not one of those names. Now, we'll never know if he was going to keep him or not. It doesn't really matter. Baylor finalized a contract and has brought him to town. When I look back, and I wanted to get a feel for, okay, what does this guy do? What is he known for? Well, even this season, in a season where I think if we looked at points per game and maybe even third down defense, I think we would not see great rankings for the K-State defense. What they did great is takeaways. Hey, be great at something, right? 4th in the country in takeaways. I was trying to see how many it was, but it was like 26. Yeah, 26 takeaways, 4th in the country. Their turnover margin was number 8 in the country at 11. Hey, be good at something. They were good at that. Also, it was kind of, I thought it was interesting to look and go, okay, what is this guy kind of known for? I thought this was interesting. Number 1, turnover creation. That's his biggest thing, and he's good at it. He's had moments where they're very, very high in the country, like this year. Second metric and thing that he looks at, third down defense. All right, and I think that's very important, as we both know. Number 3 is red zone defense. And they are one of those teams over the years, I think if we looked at their red zone numbers, have probably allowed, a lot of field goals, but they're pretty good about keeping teams out of the end zone. Again, I'll be looking at all these things to confirm that, okay? But these are the things that he prioritizes. 4th is holding down those explosives, and he said 5th was points per game, okay? Which obviously anything. And then I would like to kind of look and see kind of like what they points per drive, some of these other metrics that are out there. Now, Scotty, you heard what Matt Walters said. He started naming off all these NFL players. How about that? How about we get back to producing some NFL players? Now, you hope that Sawyer, you hope that Josh Cameron, and you hope Michael Trigg all go on and have very nice NFL careers. They'll at least get that opportunity. So we'll be watching for all of that. A reminder that this coach, and we talked about people that were in the NFL right now playing. He had one starter for the Bucs, I think starts at cornerback. They have another safety in the NFL, but he has worked with the safeties and done really good work with the safeties. I look back in one of their really good seasons in 2022 when they beat that TCU team in the Big 12 championship. That year, they had a top 15 scoring defense at K-State under this guy, Klanderman. They beat number 9 OSU 48-0. And I think on that year, that was the year they had Josh Hayes at safety. He was a really good safety. This is going to be, I'm just saying, given Baylor's circumstances, you can't just go, well, we should get like the best defense, the best defense coordinator in the country. Yeah, oh, anybody should just leave wherever, Ole Miss or wherever they are, and come to Baylor. And that's not going to happen. But what you have to do is take advantage of some of these opportunities with coaches that were either not going to get retained or we don't really know. They might have tried to retain Klanderman, but it does look like he's changing out most of the staff. And then we'll see who he tries to bring with him. Buddy Wyatt is a defensive ends coach who is very, very, it's well documented. He's been all around the Big 12. And, of course, A&M used to be in the Big 12, and he coached Michael Bennett. He coached Von Miller at A&M. He's coached some Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska when he was there. I think he was at CU, and they were still in the Big 12. He has been around the block, all right? And he played at TCU, by the way, so has some Texas ties there. Buddy Wyatt would be an interesting name to watch at defensive ends. At defensive tackle, they have a guy named Mike Tui Asosopo. Anyway, he's good. He's good. And so they've had some good ones along the way there. So all kinds of news pouring in. I also put out the news a little earlier that keep your eye on TCU. The good news is the news I'm hearing is that TCU is looking at a guy named Gordon Samus from the UConn offensive coordinator. That team this year, they had a quarterback, oh my gosh, 28 touchdowns and 1 interception for the quarterback at UConn. The thought was he would go with Mora to Colorado State. Now it looks like TCU may be getting involved. Now, why does that have a Baylor tie-in? Well, there was thought that somebody could come after Spavital. Who would Baylor go after? All of those kinds of things. Again, I'll go back to the fact I find it interesting, and there are people that Baylor knows and Baylor's connected to that would have inroads into this guy. Avery Johnson, Matt Walters told us that he thinks it's 50-50 if Avery Johnson stays at Kansas State. He did say that he has a great relationship with Colin Klein. Do we know for sure that Colin Klein wants Avery Johnson to stay? Probably. I think he would. So let's keep our eye on that situation. And then, of course, the situation that is happening at Michigan, where Sharon Moore, wow. What a wild deal that is. Sharon Moore, Michigan's coach gets fired yesterday for cause. And then, again, Scotty, that's why I reluctantly, earlier today, you don't really love coming out. I mean, I was kind of mad. I wasn't mad. I was just kind of like peeved at myself because I had some breaking news yesterday and I kind of sat on it in good faith. And then I didn't get to, somebody else got the news. So I was kind of frustrated about this. But what is kind of weird is when like on this Michigan thing, everybody's now coming out like, oh, I've been knowing about this. Oh, yeah, I had this last week. That's what I was referencing. Oh, about a month ago, I mentioned this. Oh, yeah, I've got it. I said there was a major job that could be opening up. And it's like, okay, guys, this is a pretty huge story. Now, maybe you didn't want to break the news. Maybe you didn't want to be out there. But it's so interesting that when there's this massive, crazy news story that then we hear from like 7 different people, we knew this was coming. Okay, guys, get it on out there. And by the way, it's a good lesson for all of us. Now again, you want to make sure it's right. You don't want to go, well, I kind of knew this. Now, there was somebody out there named like Spiro or something. And boy, he was really about a month ago hinting hard at this. And because I don't know who this guy is and I don't recognize whoever he works for, I didn't really pay any attention. Don't even remember him saying this. But I was looking back, and boy, he was saying stuff about this Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore's in jail. We'll look and see if he's been bailed out, but he was in jail. And when all this was going down last night, they arrested him. He got into somebody's house. From the stories that are pouring in, one from John Bacon, who's a really good author and a pretty famous author in college football and college athletics, who I would trust. He goes on a TV station today, and he was talking about that that, some of those things that we'd been seeing leak out last night on Twitter, that, he basically confirmed some of that Sherrone Moore was threatening to harm himself and harm somebody else with a knife last night. I mean, again, he probably saw his career ending before his very eyes. He had an inappropriate relationship with a female staffer at Michigan, and it's believed to be his executive assistant. And I think probably people maybe I think they had denied it. And at some point, Michigan realized this is inappropriate. This can't be happening. We're done here. We're firing you for cause. What does that mean? Well, it means Sherrone Moore, who had probably a nice long 5-year contract or whatever, they're saying we're done paying you. This is no settlement. Now he can fight for it. He can go to court and he can try to say this is not fair or whatever, but they're going to fire him for cause. I mean, when whatever happened with Mack Rhodes, Baylor decided, you know what, let's let Mack resign and let's probably figure out some kind of settlement and we can let both sides move on with their lives. That doesn't mean whatever happened with Mack was like a complete, obviously it was enough to kind of end up ending his career at Baylor, but they didn't get into some kind of nasty fight over things. They were able to agree to something and everybody kind of quietly, I don't know how quiet it was, but they moved on about their business. This was ugly. This is public. We're going to hear more details on it. We've seen pictures of it, but I'll tell you what we won't do here. And again, I've seen all of it and I know everything out there, but I will not. And by the way, I hate it for everybody involved. I hate it for this guy's family. My gosh, he's married, he's got kids. I really hate it for them, but we will not be putting pictures of whoever he had this affair with or anything like that. Because in a lot of ways, she's extremely young, and now her career is marred by all this. I mean, we always, in these cases, you go to whoever's the oldest in these relationships, and you go, come on, man, come on. Anyway, but again, not that people don't make mistakes, but this one was a pretty big one in the department, at the school, working for him. Come on, Sherrone. All right, tell you what we'll do. We'll take a quick break, and then let's huddle with Nikki Collin, Baylor's number 13 ranked Bears women's basketball coach. She joins us next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
It is Mosley. I'm just calling you, Scotty. We've got all kinds of stuff happening. So, Scotty, we're going to wrap up. We'll wrap up with Nikki Collins. She's running just a little bit late coming from practice, but she'll be jumping on her computer, and so we can have her via video. And man, this is going to be fun. I mean, Scotty, have you? First of all, Scotty, because we'll interview Nikki, and then we may have to drop out just a couple minutes early because I have to jump on. But anyway, we've got lots of stuff going on today. We've had all kinds of breaking news. We've been reacting to the hire of Joe Klanderman, Baylor defensive coordinator. And so I've been holding off. Scotty is working remote. He's going to be doing some travel. And so I'll be with the Z-Man tomorrow. But Scotty, we've got her. Okay. All right. Well, looks like she's getting ready to go here. I don't think she'll recognize me unless I put.
Oh gosh, I know. Will you get your
sunglasses
sunglasses on?
I know these are very scholarly, though. Oh wait, hold a sec. There you go. Okay, that's.
I didn't know I was going on either. So it's like you got the all natural, no makeup, hair and a pony look.
I appreciate you. It hit me today. I've been very excited about this game you have Sunday, and I'm like I gotta talk to Nikki before this, and so thank you with everything going on. And then I had all this breaking news. Nikki, Baylor hired a defensive coordinator today. So
I
my entire
saw
day
maybe
on
a
that.
tweet. Kansas State.
Yeah, Joe Klanderman, K-State. He's had they were fourth in takeaways. I try to,
How about tackling? We want them to tackle.
No, we're accentuating the good stuff. There's some other metrics that maybe aren't as great, but fourth in takeaways this year, eighth in turnover margin. Some really good things, Nikki.
Go
so
Bears.
I think you can be excited. Lots going on. Doug McNamee, the new AD. Nikki, we hadn't talked. I mean, a lot has happened since we last talked, and some of that obviously is negative and all of that. But there are some positive things going on with Baylor, and it was good to see the new AD in place. Excited to see where all this will go, and I'm sure you got to be one of the first people to hopefully meet him. He's been around Baylor, long time Baylor guy, and I'm sure, I don't know if you'd met him before, Nikki, before he became the AD, but I'm sure he was at your games because he's a big Baylor fan and he lived around Waco. But have you gotten to meet Doug McNamee, and what are your early impressions?
Yeah, well, I met. I've known of Doug. I actually met him a couple years ago when Chip brought Eric Church over to watch Scott's team practice over at Farrell Center, and so that's when Tony Green had to run our practice for 20 minutes because I wasn't going to have Eric Church be in Farrell Center and not meet him. So that's when I met Doug. He brought him over, and so. But I have had a chance to talk to him. I talked to him right when they hired him on the phone, and then he was at our Scream game on Tuesday. But we'll spend some time with him in the next week because I think we're all in that space of there's a lot going on and there's a lot of agenda items, and the sooner we know things, the better. So, but excited to see what he does for Baylor. I know he's excited to be here, and it's always for coaches, it's always a little scary. Doesn't matter how successful you've been, when the person that hired you and you feel like believed in you, is gone. Like there's definitely some trepidation, but excited to get to know Doug.
Yeah, and man, y'all have had an interesting run, and that tournament, watching that, or the showcase, whatever we call these things now. I mean, you get the loss, and that was frustrating for you the most, and your players and everything, and some of the. But then you come back with like a buzzer beater type win, and there was a lot of excitement around that. And I just your team is sort of changing and morphing before our very eyes. And I feel like I'm like a lot of Baylor fans, still kind of getting to know the team. And you had one player that wasn't playing a whole lot, and then honestly, she hits the game winner. Who is that? Davidson. I mean, it's like a sweet move. And you know how I can fall in love with. I'm like, oh my gosh, Yaya can do this and different. But I mean, it was just like, you knew she was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like taking it to the games, and okay, are we going to have that consistency? But that had a pretty cool moment for the team to see her do that, and the way the team responded to that. I would think that had to be a kind of a galvanizing moment early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I told them, when you think about Yu Ting, like, she's one of those players that has, all these tools on her tool belt, but learning when to use them. Learning to play hard all the time, learning to play defense at both ends, learning defensive coverages. When you think about when she became eligible for Auburn last year, like she just kind of was thrown into the fire. She never had an off season. She never had a preseason. And so, she had a lot to learn. And when you start the season with Duke and then you're going on the road to UNLV, like I thought she's gotten a little bit better slowly and surely. She obviously can shoot the heck out of the basketball, but getting her to play tougher consistently. She can jump, she's strong. But the compete part, like hitting people on possessions on the glass and understanding schemes, like, it's a new thing for a lot of our players. But certainly we're a team that, like I think when we beat Duke, I think there were people that thought, oh, they're really good, they've arrived. I'm just a firm believer that like there's a big process to a season. And yes, we were better than Duke on that particular day. And I'd like to believe that we can be better than Duke in March as well. But I certainly think we had a lot of things to figure out. And it's a game that we didn't go deep into our bench, and we relied on the people that I trusted, up until that point. And so as trust grows, our bench can get deeper. Because we're obviously, our goal is to win a conference championship. Our goal is to play well in March and hopefully be playing into April. And I still think we got a lot of work to do to actually be a really good team consistently.
Jana has come back, and I see somebody with a brace, and I'm always like, oh my gosh, how are they even? It just seems like it would be kind of bulky, yet she's getting the job done. Lots of assists. She's scoring when you need her to. And I'm sure, she's kind of an extension of you out there. Talia's come in and been exactly what you kind of hoped she would be, which is just high fly and high scoring and everything. You talked about the depth. What do you like when you settle into conference, and as you kind of, what are you comfortable with playing? Like over the years, I've watched certain coaches like Scott. Really, everybody talks about lack of depth. They only have 7 scholarship players. The truth is, he really over the years has only played 7. So it's not like, oh my gosh, they only have 7 guys. Now, if somebody gets hurt, yeah, you got problems. On this team, and I'm sure you're figuring it out. But even Kyla recently, man, she's done some really cool things for you. One of those games you had the blocks and the things she provides. You have some really interesting pieces. How far are you going down the bench right now with this team, and what do you think you'll settle into as we get into conference?
Yeah, we're obviously at 8 right now. Like if you look at minutes and regardless of game, I tend to go 8 and then sometimes a 9th. We've only had 10 healthy bodies this year, so it doesn't make it hard even when you're in 30-point blowouts to you don't have to get to third stringers because you don't really have a third string lineup. And but I would say right now having a guard, having a wing, having a post, And I think sometimes that shifts because, I think with our 5 position, we get different things from KJ. We get from Kyla, which are different things than we're capable of getting from Kayla. And so between the 3 of them, there are times when, they're all 3 will play some minutes at the 5. And so I think that's when 9 comes into the play. But obviously so far, Markayla's kind of been our first guard off the bench. Yu-Ting's been our first wing, and Kyla's been our first post sub. And so that's kind of how we've shifted. It doesn't mean that there aren't games like my first year. I had arguably the best 7-player rotation in the country, with Caitlin Bickle coming off the bench to play, 20 minutes a game, and for Nalissa and Queen, and Jaden Owens to come in off the bench to give one of our littles a rest. And so we just kind of rotated those 4 littles and those 3 bigs all season long. And so you absolutely can, but it is scary. It's scary when, a kid suddenly has their back tighten up and you're like, okay, they can't go today. Like, we think they'll go tomorrow. But, I think like most teams, like, people don't understand the dynamics all the time of like, why are you only carrying 12? I don't know, because that's how many I could afford. And I think in this new day and age of NIL and the portal and everything else, when people say, okay, how many players do you ideally want to carry? If I have 13 healthy bodies, that's awesome. 13 is a great number. 12 healthy bodies is great, but when it comes to what we want anymore, scholarships aren't enough. And so your roster is going to be built off of, really like what your rev share number is and what you can do, with NIL. And so because of that, do I wish we had one more guard? Yes, I absolutely wish we had one more guard because, Ella's been injured and Nez isn't back yet. And if either one of those guys was healthy, maybe I would feel differently, but, point guards aren't cheap in the portal. And so you have to make decisions about who you can get and what you can get and build the best rosters you can. It's definitely not 2015 anymore.
Yeah, but it is a fun team, and now you get ready to play number 2 Texas. What a challenge! And I don't know if they're obviously have been great. They're really good in so many areas. I mean, this is concerning that you'd be playing on the Sabbath as a good the Baptist team.
That gives us the advantage, right?
Although their people don't go to church, so that's I don't know the Baylor people. Hopefully they can get out, maybe go to early service, and then get over there to Fort Worth. The Cowboys play at night, so that's helpful. So there's no excuse for Baylor people. They need to get over there to Dickey's Arena. What are you seeing from Vic? I mean, this is kind of interesting when they leave the conference. Been out for a couple of years. You've watched what they've done. They've had a lot of success in the SEC. What do you how much time do you don't want to make it like too big of a deal, but then you don't want to go in there and not be completely prepared. Like, how big a deal is this to your team and your players?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, pretending otherwise is, like, I could sandbag here all day and all of that, but the reality is they're the number 2 team in the country. Their strength of schedule has been incredible. They went and won the Players Era, with a couple key injuries that still aren't back for them. But their roster's stacked with McDonald's All-Americans. Vic's done an elite job of recruiting. He's got elite talent that plays really, really hard. I mean, I think that's the hallmark, obviously, of a Vic Schaefer team. They're going to pressure 94 feet. They're going to deny. Rory Harmon continues to be the head of the snake. It feels like she's been there forever, which she has, because I've been here for 5 years and Rory's been there for 5 years. So there's never been a Texas team that I've watched or seen that didn't have Rory unless she was injured on the sideline. And I think that, when you've got a kid like Madison Booker, who was Big 12 Player of the Year as a freshman and then SEC Player of the Year as a sophomore, who can go get her own shot. I think that's the thing that makes them so dangerous offensively, is they have so many weapons that can go get their own shot. Like, they absolutely can play in action and create shots off screens, and they're a high execution team. But Jordan Lee can go get her own shot. Rory can get her own shot. Maddie Booker can go get her own shot. And then you have post kids, that can go to the low block and beast you. So, he probably has 7 right now, unless Crump and Preston are back. But, once again, they're the 7 he needs, because they have a guard sub, they have post subs, they have strength, they have length. So, I think I said on the broadcast last night on TV, like they beat you with their toughness. They beat you down mentally. You make one mistake, and then if you don't play through it, it turns into 2 really quickly. And so you have to show up with the mental toughness to play through mistakes and to keep running up and down the court. And you turn it over against their press. Okay, like set your D, try to keep them from scoring. If not, get it out and make them work. And so really, really talented, probably the most talented team he's had, and top to bottom, just pure athleticism, rankings, all of that. But they still have that toughness and that competitiveness, that is a trademark of his programs.
Yeah, might as well go beat them though, and that'd be. I mean, it's going to be a great matchup, and for women's basketball, playing these huge games Sunday, whatever. I mean, whatever day you play them, but these big national TV type matchups are great for women's basketball. And in college football now, you may have noticed everybody's like, we're not going to play anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to cancel our deal. That's another coach at University of Texas, by the way. But
you
anyway.
have to understand it. Like I think we're, I don't think our system doesn't knock teams for playing good schedules. Now, you can have that same debate, who plays tough stretch of schedules and who doesn't, and that you can fight that on Twitter all day. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think you get dinged for playing good teams. I think when you look at NCAA selection show and tournament and what they look at, even if the net sometimes is absolutely absurd when you look at who's where, I do think they look at quality wins. I think they look at strength of schedule and not just in your conference. And, it is good for women's basketball. And once again, we're in a different time. Like you heard Kelvin Sampson talk about, like, if someone's going to pay me to play in a game, I'm going to play in that game. Like that's what I'm going to do. And I think we've reached that stage where we're finding ways and platforms to compete. And I'm just grateful. I've said, like, one of the things I'm most proud of, over the last 5 years at Baylor, and obviously Coach Mulkey built this program up to be a national power, and that was a tough act to follow, but we've continued to get asked to play in Paris, and in New Jersey last year, in this game, like we're on the tip of people's tongues still in terms of these key matchups with the South Carolinas, the UConns, the USCs. And so, if you turn them down, they're not going to keep asking. And if you turn them down, you don't play on that platform. And that platform is what we sell. We sell that platform to recruits. We sell that, and then you have to play in these games to fund your program these days and to sign more good players. And so, we just want to go. We want to represent Baylor, our fan base well, and our program and the Big 12 and all of those things. And on top of it, it's like obviously a huge in-state rivalry. And you look at, I mean, I can sit here and I can't tell you my record against a lot of teams, but I can tell you my record against Vic. I told my seniors today, you guys are 2-2 against Texas. This is the rubber match. I told our new guys, you're 0-0. Like, this is the rubber match, for some of you. So, I think these games matter.
All right, and that was fun. I wish we could take some of those elementary school kids up to Fort Worth.
For sure. I'm with you on that.
Bring them up there. About 2,000 or 3,000 of them attended the annual Scream game the other day, and a really fun moment that kind of went viral. Just when you think that thing will kind of play out, then you all have that moment. Everybody goes crazy. That was hilarious to hear Talia talking after the game about. She was very honest about it. She was like, I was kind of nervous, having to hit those 3 free throws. And then, of course, you didn't make it easy on her. You're like, hey, better not miss.
No, I said that's the first thing I said when she got fouled, because I didn't tell him that's why I was running it, but I was running a play for a 3. Like, I knew the score. And, like, it's it's a fun moment
Yeah.
for the kids. You know, they're all looking forward to it. They're ready for that moment. And so I just said, now don't disappoint these kids, you know, and
Yeah.
she's probably the one player on our team that I'm confident enough at 90% that I can say that to and not make them nervous, you know? And so, you know, I don't know about Tunde Duncan to make it 68 in the men's game the next day.
No,
Like
no.
that's when you wait and you get fouled, you know, so they can
Freshman.
have that experience 2 days in a row.
Yeah, freshman mistake. Major freshman mistake by Tunde on that one. But what do you have? Do you have like a Charlie Brown tree? What
Oh,
how
that's
are you
my
doing?
okay. So
Yeah.
honestly, that's just normally in the corner, but I got a Christmas tree. So this is a nice olive tree, not a Charlie Brown tree. This is my olive tree that normally sits in the corner. So
Okay. I'm sorry. I got to put my real glasses on
yeah,
to see it.
it's
Yeah.
not usually there. It's usually in the other corner, but I've got a
No.
beautiful Christmas tree instead right now.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll let you know if Baylor makes any more hires, but Joe
As long
Klanderman,
as you feel good about it, I guess I should feel good about it.
Joe Klanderman is your new colleague, and he will be the DC from Kansas State. You got friends there at K-State, and they say nice things about him, so I think it'll work out. We will be watching on Sunday, and this works out great because some of those Sunday games, I got to be at the Cowboys game, and it really messes things up for me. But I am going to be totally focused at noon. I don't care about those noon NFL games. I'll be focused on Baylor and Texas. So I really appreciate you jumping on with us and somebody's trying to say something to you. That's from Pete Souza. We should not allow him on he gets to talk to you enough doing those games. But no, Pete Souza's saying hello. You got to watch it with these people, Nikki. They may come on here questioning.
Hey,
something.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I have people on Twitter saying I need to be an analyst. So, you know, it's
I
like,
saw that. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I've always thought you're great at that, but I would rather you, kind of like you said, I think you should continue to coach. And then if that's something
for another minute or two,
but if you're going to do it and you coached at Baylor now, you're going to have to really play up your accent. Have you noticed those former coaches from the South, and some of them?
I cannot claim. I enjoy living in the South, but I cannot claim myself a Southerner growing up in the Midwest the way I did. I don't think I have a Wisconsin accent either, but maybe it's because I was in the Southwest part. But I definitely think I'm probably very Midwestern in my. But no, I haven't found my way to a Southern accent. You know, for the sake of fitting in, it's like what you see is what you get. You know.
Yeah. No, you do have kind of a Midwest, like people from Chicago or Wisconsin, like there is a Midwestern, but it's not like a real identifiable accent.
Correct. It's not like a Boston accent, you know.
People in Texas actually think I don't have that big of an accent, but when I leave Texas, it's like, oh my goodness, they think it's there.
What word? Like, what's the word that gets people?
There's certain things I can't even say. Like there's like in football, there's a wheel route, and I can't pronounce like that. W-H-E. I can't say that word.
Yeah, wheel route.
And I can't say like, Jonah.
I love a good wheel route.
Jonah got swallowed by the whale. I can't say that word.
You can't say a whale. You got your WHs. You struggle with your WHs. It's a whiteout.
It's probably like a first grade teacher. I could blame like Mrs. Busby or something. Like whale. Yeah. It's not there. Okay. All right. Hey, thank you. And we'll be watching. And
all right.
I'm excited about this. All right. Let's go out there and take down
Sick 'em Bears.
I hope Vic is very red-faced after the game.
Well, hopefully he has to throw his jacket off real quick.
That's right. You don't have a jacket to throw.
I don't have a jacket to throw. I tend to stay in my coach's box. I don't cross half court. You know, I don't. So, you know, I'm pretty boring over there. I can be entertaining, but I tend to stay in the parameters of my coaching box while I'm doing so.
Had you seen kids do this or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's crazy about it is like everyone asks me and I'm like, I know it, but no one really knows what it is because it's not really anything. So there's no way to actually explain it other than it's just this thing.
No.
And I know they made a song about it. And then honestly, like I saw some tweets about it being demonic, and I'm like, if it is, it's not. That's obviously not the intention of all these elementary school kids, you know? So like let's understand that it's in good fun and not anything to do with that.
Golly, demonic.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't even know.
When we were kids, you remember they started doing that back masking, and they would like those albums, and you'd play it backwards.
Oh,
and
yes,
they'd be saying like all that satanic
Well,
stuff.
but it's amazing when
Yeah.
the older you get, the more like there were certain things you said and did as a kid that were actually highly inappropriate, but you had no idea.
No.
No idea that the saying or the whatever had any, I don't know. It just,
No,
you
there's
don't know
still
what you don't know.
and I was the kid that would always like kind of laugh like I knew what they were talking about, and like I had no clue. And to this day, there'll be some things somebody says inappropriate or something, and I'm like, and I just don't know. So anyway, that's the
You
good
just
bad.
giggle?
Yeah. I try not to, because I'm like, I don't want to giggle at something like very inappropriate, you know.
Well, but I mean, it's kind of like people have different defense mechanisms, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so like when I'm scared, I'm still gonna probably laugh. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
like that just,
I'm bad like with grief and stuff. Like my family tends to laugh when we should be like, and people are like, what are they doing? Why is that happening? But like that's the way that shouldn't shock you that I deal with things through.
no,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much like I use sarcasm for everything. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, people have to figure that out about me real early. All the new players. Like
What is your favorite Christmas movie ever?
oh, I'm actually a really, really big. I have two. Like the new school, like I still love Christmas Vacation. I could probably watch that. I'm not the Home Alone girl. I'm the Christmas Vacation. Like that's more that'll keep me entertained. But like children's play, like I go back to the claymation Rudolph. Like I couldn't wait for that every single
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
season. I mean, there have been a million things come out since then, but those would be my two, like, you know, Christmas Vacation will still make me laugh. And yeah, Rudolph. I love a good Rudolph claymation. Not the
Okay.
spin-off with the Misfit toys, not that one.
Are you listening to Christmas music now? Like, do you wait till like a week before and then commit to it, or have
I
you been going
committed. The
for
first
like?
time I
Yeah.
committed was the kids game ended on Tuesday.
Yeah.
My desk, I don't know how if this happens to other people, but I'm pretty organized, but I start to get scouting report build up, all these notes, all practice plans, all that stuff starts to build up. And so Tuesday after the game, I put Christmas music on, I lit a candle, and I cleaned my desk and hole punched and filed and did all those things. And so Tuesday was the day for me.
Okay. Tuesday. Gotcha.
So
All right.
I'm not the day after Thanksgiving, I'm gonna start listening to Christmas music, but I did get my house decorated very
Oh,
quickly.
good.
You know.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to put up the exterior, and we still haven't got the tree up. But I bet they're out in El Mod. I bet it looks gorgeous out there.
Oh,
So,
it's beautiful. It's definitely it's I haven't put outside. I've hesitated to put like the outside lights. I decorate my front door, all that looks
Yeah.
very but I hesitate on the outdoor lights only because like my house is on essentially a dead end, so like nobody passes my house. So do I really want to invest in my house being lit up for nobody to see? But the one person, you know, like I had a light. It was this true story. I'm coming home. It might have been. It was Sunday night because we played Sunday. I was coming home Sunday night, and my septic tank light, the big red light, was on. And it's like a beacon in the dark, you
Yeah.
know? And so I was YouTubing like what to do when your red septic light was on Sunday night. Yeah, so you can see lights at my house, but really it would only be like my three neighbors and the
Yeah.
septic guy, you know?
There's nothing that puts me in the Christmas spirit like a good septic tank light.
It was just one bright red light. And all I was nervous, like, this is not one of those things you want to back up, you know? And so, yeah. Anyway, fried electrical wire from some kind of power surge. It was fixed by 8 o'clock the next morning. so nobody has to worry. But yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, listen, great. Great. I don't know if we're still on or not, but no, great. I enjoyed it.
Everybody wants to know.
That's right. All right.
You already just told that I live in Elmont, so I mean.
Yeah, I apologize.
Maybe people are going to come check out my Christmas decorations.
There used to be this group called the Nose Brotherhood at Baylor that made fun of everything. And when they talked about Elmont, I thought it was a joke. Like, I never knew it was an actual place when I was a Baylor student. And then later on, I was like, wait.
Well, my address is Waco, but I'm definitely like, I feel like, you know, like my people, like my HEB is in Belmead, like my.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm So.
Yeah. We need to get you
on I went to Target on Saturday. Can I tell you, this is the first time I've probably been to Target. I don't know when. And it was like, I realized that after 5 years here, 4.5 years, that everybody knows me. And I really like, it's not that that never happens, but I'm like, maybe because I'm always over in Belmead, you know, like, I don't get out when I get out.
You don't put a cap on and sunglasses and try to do the paparazzi, try to throw them off?
I'm like, I'm way too social for that. And I'm not cool enough to, but yeah. So
I could loan you my shades, and this is how, people freak out.
Because that's only the first thing people are going to be like, who's that person wearing shades?
That's right.
Trying for people, right?
That's right.
So,
why was something wrong with that man? That's what people still say at church. Does he have vision problems? Like, well, yes, but that's not why he has them on. All right. I appreciate it. Great to catch up with you. Thanks for hopping on. And Merry Christmas. If we don't speak, I'll be in touch with you. Okay.
All right.
If y'all win Sunday, I do want you on Monday. So okay.
All right. If we don't, you don't want. That's all right.
We can't. If you don't, we don't. We're not going to.
We only want winners on the Mosley show.
That's right. Win or lose, we want you. All right. All right. I'll see you. There she goes. Nikki Collin hopping on the Mosley show. Always fun. You never know where it might go. And what a day. What a day it has been. And Scotty's got a little bit of a trip planned or something. I don't know what Scotty's up to, but not going to be with us tomorrow. But Scotty's done a great job. We've had all kinds of guests. We had a new Baylor defensive coordinator. Reminder, Joe Klanderman just hired as Baylor's defensive coordinator. I'll get more and more information on that. And then I put out some information earlier today on Twitter. If you want to follow me at Matt Mosley on the TCU offensive coordinator, they're looking at somebody, Gordon, what's his name? Simmi or something. Anyway, they're looking at the current interim head coach at UConn. And so that's kind of interesting. Gordon Sammy? Anyways, Sammi. We'll look into more of that. Thank you, Scotty. Good stuff. Thank you, Rogue. Thank you to all our folks who've been following us on Twitter and elsewhere. Sign up for the Mosley YouTube experience. It's really caught fire. I mean, I think so. We've got some good numbers. We've gotten good feedback as we continue to bring you all the latest Baylor. Today, I'll do better tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow we do have Joey McGuire, the number 4 coach in the country, will be joining the Matt Mosley show right here on Rogue Media Network. So we'll be very excited to talk to Joey. So that'll be good. We'll do that tomorrow. So for Scotty, it is Matt Mosley. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock straight up.